Hey jazz tourists, it's Greg here, and I'm in Manchester after a few weeks down in London, here in the north end of the city, which is where a lot of the used record stores are, and also where you can find a lot of vintage clothing shops. Lovely brown stone building. So I'm going to take some images as I walk through the north end, and then we're going to pop into about 4, maybe 5 record stores I want to pop into. It's a Sunday afternoon, and I arrived here a little late, so let's see what we can get through today. Maybe I'll pop into a couple more tomorrow, but I'm really excited to be back in Manchester. I haven't been here for maybe about 8 years, and let's hit them. Stop talking. Let's go. I think there's a couple places here on Oldham Street. Don't know much about this place, but let's just dive right in there and see what we can find. All right, well, the store is right behind me, a Vinyl Exchange, right behind me, but there's a nice cafe here. So I thought I'd sit down, talk a little bit about that store. Hopefully it's not too loud here on the street. I'm dying for a coffee too. Anyway, what can I tell you about the store? Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'll grab a napkin for you.
Oh, don't. That's quite all right. I'm totally fine. Thank you. You spilled it a little bit. That's fine. Just gonna have a sugary finger all day today. A lot of CDs when you first go into the store. So that kind of put me off a little bit. I thought, whoa, what's going on? A lot of electronica. I'm finding that a lot of stores here, or at least the stores that I'm finding here in the northern quarter, have a lot of club music, electronica, some ambient at some stores. Also, the R&B, Northern Soul. So that's to be expected, right? That's the history of Manchester. But so anyway, I kind of skipped most of the electronica. There was a little bit, as you can see, of jazz, but on the first floor. But it was all new stuff. So I quickly saw that it was new stuff. Went down the stairs, and there's a good-sized room downstairs. A lot of things up on the wall. Maybe I'll show a few of those, but what else did I find? Okay, let's go through some of the stuff here, and then I'll show you what I bought. There was a Bobby Hutcherson Spiral. I think that's been reissued, hasn't it? Was that a tone poet or a classic? It was overpriced though. Although having said that, I think a lot of the discs were labeled near mint there, so they didn't have a lot of crap. All the stuff they had there was in very, very good shape. So that was near mint, but they were asking £40. It's that Blue Note Classic series from, 79 to 81. Anyway, so I passed on that. What else? What else we got here? Up on the wall, there was an Anthony Braxton box set, 2 LP box set at Moores Festival. A rare box set. Said it was rare. Well, I haven't seen it. £40. I might go back to the hotel and check that one out. I'm thinking about that one. I looked on Discogs. A lot of buses going down the street. Went down, looked at Discogs, and actually that price was pretty decent. There was a Wynton Kelly Trio. What was the name of that one? That one was called Undiluted. £20. Again, it was an original UK version. Oh my. Maybe I didn't pick a great place to talk. £20. I listened to it. It's not my favorite one of his LPs, so I passed on that.
there's a good selection of ECMs there, most of which I had. There was a Bobby Hutcherson Total Eclipse for £40. That one was only VG, so I put that back. I don't have that LP, so I thought about it. And the other weird thing is, there's kind of, usually it's vinyl grading slash cover grading. And here it was the opposite way around, right? So I looked, and it was kind of, what? I'm confused. But when I went up and talked to the guy, he told me, no, it's near mint. Anyway, there's also a Bobby Hutcherson featuring Harold Land, the San Francisco Blue Note, which was reissued last year, or this year, recently. They were asking £50 for it. I have an OG of that one, so I passed on that. And then one LP, it's a Joe Henderson Barcelona LP, which I don't think I've ever seen in the wild. It may be a Japanese-only LP. So Joe Henderson's Barcelona, never seen it in the wild. He was asking $50 for it. It's an LP that I bought, I don't know how many years ago. I'm gonna say I bought it about during COVID, actually. I bought it during COVID, and I paid $25 for it. So that's almost a fourfold increase. Anyway, but again, it was in good shape. There was a Bill Dixon collection, a box set that was up on the wall. Mostly his solo stuff from the early 70s, 72 to 76. That I was really quite interested in. It's £150. I checked online. Must have pulled my back today, I think. I checked online. It was a fair price, and actually on Discogs, again, most of the prices here were quite fair. Were among the cheapest. So, but it's just a bit too rich. And again, it's a box, and carrying that back home would be a nightmare. So anyway, so pretty interesting store, I'm going to say. I went up, had a nice chat with a fellow, talked about a few of the things they had for sale. And some of you who know my channel know I'm a huge EST fan. And this is their LP that they recorded in Australia, in Sydney, I believe. 301 is the name of the studio. It's a gatefold. I don't want to open the whole thing up. Anyway, it's their last studio album. And I'm a huge fan. So not too easy to find these on, not too easy to find them on vinyl. So that was a big find. Very happy. It was very friendly guy. He was the jazz guy in the store, and we talked a little bit, and then he knocked £10 off. So even though I saw on Discogs, again, it was the cheapest one that was listed on Discogs. They do list some of their stuff on Discogs, so check them out. Vinyl Exchange. Had a really good time there. Nice dig. Again, a really friendly place. Lots of interesting things around up on the wall. So I'm going to finish my coffee here, and then we're going to go directly across the street. Hang on one second, I'll turn it around. And go check out Piccadilly Records, which apparently is one of the oldest record stores in the city. Let's go and check it out. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna finish up my coffee, and then we're gonna head right over there. It's interesting, just like the other stores that I've already visited, a lot of club music. Again, in every store has club music, right? So it's not like it's an electronica store or specializing in club music, right? Or rap or something like that. Here, it just seems like, at least here in the northern quarter, here in Manchester, that the stores all have club music. Also, a lot of CDs. I find there's a lot more CDs here in Manchester. And the same is true here for Piccadilly Records behind me. Hey Turistas, here at Clampdown Records, which is not quite in the northern quarter. It's a bit closer to the main. It's a bit closer to Piccadilly railway station. In a really interesting part of town. In fact, just behind me, I don't know if we can see, not so much, and especially the street over, it looks like they are getting it ready for an old film shoot. So putting dirt on the road and lots of crazy stuff on the street. So really interesting. Sorry, I'm just gonna get out of the way here. We got a little delivery guy. So this store I wasn't so sure about. You can see they've closed all the streets down here because of the film shoot, so there's lots of action. All the delivery guys are having problems. There we go. You can see the shop behind me right here. I really love this store. There wasn't much in there for me. It was a small jazz selection. They had a couple OJSeez in there. Bill Evans, OJSeez, and I was really surprised at the price on them. They were both £30, but then when I went and checked it out on Discogs, that was actually near the bottom price. I was really shocked, but both of them I already have. But nice finds anyway. One had a little cover damage, but yeah, wow, those really popped in price. Those versions must sound really good. So what they have in there, it was largely kind of a rock and roll in there. A lot of kind of, again, Brit rock. They had a really interesting selection, original selection of Beatles LPs in there. I might send that around to a couple friends. And what else? So yeah, not much in the way of jazz. They had great Beatles. Okay, and then they had a really interesting selection of 45s in there. And this kind of goes to the design of the shop. I was really impressed. Just the way it's not a big space in there, and the way that the owner had organized it. There's just boxes kind of everywhere, but not normally if I said that, I'd be like, oh my God, there were boxes everywhere. But this was just so well designed. It was small in there, and there were too many people in there, so I wasn't able to take a video. But he also had all these small little 45 boxes, and he had them labeled. So I had a photo of this here. Here, check it out right now. So you can see that there are labels on them for, ska, reggae, two-tone, Beatles, whatever, Queen. And I just thought that was really well done. It was almost like the whole side near the wall near the cash were these great little 45 boxes. So I've never seen that before. I had a nice chat to the guy who was really friendly. It seemed like it was a pretty popular store. So although I didn't find anything there for myself, I really enjoyed it. Really took my time in there and had a lot of fun. So okay, let's head over to, where are we heading over to? I think we're heading over to Eastern Bloc now. Okay, let's go. All right, just out from digging in Eastern Bloc Records, which hopefully, as you can see behind me, is also a cafe. In fact, it's a huge cafe. They got, as you can see behind me, hopefully, a nice patio. And it's a beautiful sunny day here in Manchester, which is something that you always hope for in the city, because as I remember it, when I was here for a couple months, it rained every single day. Anyhow, so great day to walk the northern quarter. And so you go upstairs, and it's a small space. It's a little kind of lofty space, very similar to the other stores I've been to here in Manchester. A lot of club music. This one, I would say there were a lot more local bands, a lot more local musicians. A lot of stuff that I was over my head. A lot of LPs, a lot of vinyl that didn't have covers, DJ DJ vinyl, so to speak. They had a small selection of jazz and a couple new jazz releases on the wall. Nicely curated, you know, a little sticker with a description, which helped for a store like that, for me at least. I don't know, might irritate other people. But so I picked up a copy of Jasmine Myra's first LP called Rising. I think it's a 2021, decent price. And part of the Jasmine's part of the kind of so-called UK or London jazz scene. Quite mellow. I wouldn't call it contemporary. Very easy listening jazz. I think it's really quite lovely. It's kind of a mixture of contemporary and spiritual, I would say, almost environmental jazz, if that's a word. Maybe I'll make that up. Jasmine Myra, environmental jazz artist. And then the other LP that I picked up here was a Mr. Bongo release, which we don't tend to find much in Toronto. So it's a Cuban band called Grupo Iraque. I'm not pronouncing that correctly. So it's a new reissue. But here, kind of like in Paris, they had a lot of the LPs that were open. And you can go and ask the fellow behind the desk to listen to them. So I did that with this one, or at least one copy is open, right? Which is great, right? Because you can almost listen to everything that's in the store. So I said, hey, do you have a copy of this? He said, sure, pulled it out, listened to it, and wow, it kicks ass. It's not your typical, I don't like that word anyway, Cuban jazz. It's got a good harsh kind of guitar, rock guitar in it. Almost reminded me of some of that glam rock that's starting to be reissued, kind of Nigerian, African rock music. Anyway, that mixed with some Cuban elements of jazz. Really looking forward to playing that when I get home. But so I think that pretty much covers it today. I'm heading home tomorrow. So it's been kind of three and a half weeks digging through Ljubljana in Slovenia, all the way through London, particularly the East End of London, Dalston, Hackney, and then up to Ludlow, where I made a quick stop, into Maud Lang, and then finally these last few stores here in the Northern Quarter in Manchester. So if you've been enjoying these videos over the last few weeks, I know I've picked up quite a few more subscribers from the UK, which has been really great. So give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm gonna head home tomorrow and we'll see what's in store for the Jazz Tourist. Talk to you soon.